Aunt Patty. So here is a little mini circuit for you to do for your thoracic mobility and some strength. The only thing you need is to get 2 tennis balls and duct tape them together. I really like this a lot because it creates space in between the 2 tennis balls that your spine will go directly in that space. If you use a foam roll, I don't like it as much just because it goes all the way across and it pushes pressure on your spine directly. But if you do the tennis balls, the spine sits between and then it doesn't put as much pressure, but you can get the muscles that are on both sides. So we're gonna actually start off with that before going into the next bit of exercises. So get your 2 tennis balls duct taped together, real tennis balls, not dog tennis balls, because the dog ones will just collapse and squeak. So you want the ones that are real, duct tape them together. So once you have those, you're gonna come down to the floor, you're gonna take the double tennis ball, you're gonna go to like where the bottom of your bra strap is, and you're gonna start there. So go like just below your bra strap, and you're gonna lay down and place, like I said, the spine goes between the 2 tennis balls, and then from here, you're gonna slowly lower yourself back. So at first, if you're super tight, this might be really, really uncomfortable for you. It might almost take your breath away. That's normal if your back is in a super tightened state. So you want to just kind of slowly work your way back. Eventually you want to be able to lay all the way down on the ground. And again, like I said, it might be fine in this lower position, but as you get up, it might be tighter, or this lower section might be worse, but as you get up, it will be better. So ideally first, we're just gonna lay here and just breathe. Take a deep breath in through your nose and then slowly exhale. And so at first you want to take just maybe 2 or 3 breaths, really slow breaths in this position. And as you do, those muscles should start to relax a little bit more. So you can kind of work your way up. You can do one of 2 things. You can either do that with the breaths and work your way up the spine, then come back down and do what we're going to do next. Or you can do it this way that I'm going to show you and just do one segment at a time. So you start here, you do your breaths. Once you do your breaths, you can kind of take your hands under your head and do like a little mini crunch. If it's too much though, you can skip it until it starts to release more. So maybe in a day or 2, once you do this a little more frequently and those muscles relax, you might be able to do the crunch a little bit better. So you'll crunch up a little bit, come back down, crunch up, come back down, crunch up, come back down. Maybe do about 5 of those. You can reach your arms to the sky, let your shoulder blades come back down to the floor. You can maybe do 5 of those. You can do angels, and again, maybe do 5 of those. You don't have to do all of them for each section, but and that might be a good reason why to do the breaths first, and just you're gonna be where you are here, then you're gonna just scoot your butt down a touch so the tennis balls roll up your spine just a touch, and then you repeat everything there. So as you go up each segment of your spine, you might notice that there's one area particular that is super tight. So in that super tight spot, you want to spend more time. If there's a spot you get to and you're like, well, that really doesn't feel so bad, then you know you don't have to stay there. You don't have to do the crunches and the arms and the angels. You can just say, okay, I'm just going to breathe in that spot, maybe do a crunch or 2 and move on. So really when you find that tight spot, you want to stay there a little bit longer because obviously it needs more attention. So ideally at some point you'll be able to get to a point where all of it feels good. So again, we moved up a little bit. We've been taking our deep breaths here. And then we have the little mini crunches. Like for me, these lower two are the tighter ones for me, but as I get up higher, they feel fine. But these two, they kind of take my breath away a little bit because I am tight in that spot just from sitting on the couch for so long with my knee surgeries. The middle of my back is really tight from too much sitting on the couch in that rounded position. And then with massaging all the time, I'm always leaning over my client, so the middle of my back just gets real tight. So anyway, once you do all those, scoot up a little bit, take your breaths in that spot, just letting your chest open here, taking a couple breaths. And again, if it is super duper tight, you might not even be able to get yourself to come all the way down to the floor. And that's okay, just support yourself here and just take your breaths in that position. Like I said, those lower two were really tough for me, but like once I get up here, this higher portion is not so bad. But I think with what you have, your higher ones might be worse and the lower ones might be okay. So everybody's different. So you did your crunches, you can do your scapula reaches, fingertips to the sky, shoulder blades to the floor, fingertips to the sky, shoulder blades to the floor, angels. And again, the big thing is just, especially if it is in one of those tighter spots, just doing those deeper breaths. Focusing on the exhales, because that's where the muscles will relax. So again, just taking your deep breaths, belly breath, slow exhales. Once you do a few breaths there, then do your crunches. And again, they're not like ab crunches, they're just crunches over the ball and back. You're not really working your core so much. And then fingertips, reaches, angels. And then scoot up a little more. So basically you'll just keep doing that until you get all the way to the top, to where you can't really move it up anymore, or it's gonna flip up under your neck. So you'll kind of feel what feels the best for you. You might notice that your whole back is tight, if you, and that's okay too. Got to start somewhere. So again, breaths, then crunches. And then fingers, shoulder blades, fingertips to the sky, shoulder blades to the floor, fingertips to the sky, shoulder blades to the floor. Especially when you get up towards in between your shoulder blades, you might feel more crunchiness, and it kind of feels good, almost like you are getting a massage. If you have some knots in there, you'll probably feel that. And then get some of those angels. And then from there, you can either pull the tennis balls out, or if you want, you can also come back and just kind of roll all the way back down and just roll up and down a little bit. And that sometimes will feel good. Otherwise, just pull it out, put it aside, and then just let yourself lay there for a second just to let all of that sink in. Sometimes when you take it out, if you had an area that was super tight, you might take it out and be like, but in a couple seconds, it'll all just kind of relax and your back will nice and flatten into the floor, and it'll feel really good. So once again, take a nice deep breath here. And then you're gonna roll onto your side. Doesn't matter which side you start with. And we're gonna go into windmills. So for windmills, you're in that kind of fetal position. One hand is on top of the other. And the big key here is making sure your knees stay stacked, one on top of the other, the whole time. So when people, especially if you're really tight in your upper body, when people open the arm up, the tendency is to let this top knee drift back because you don't have the range of motion in your thoracic spine. But we don't want that. So keep your knees glued together. And then from here, we're going to take that top arm, we're going to reach it up towards the sky, open our chest, follow it with our hand, and just let the arm go to wherever it'll go without that top knee moving. So some people, they might get to about here and they have to stop because that's all the range of motion they have, and that's okay. Some people go a little further. Some people can go all the way to the floor. So it just depends on how tight you are. There's no right or wrong, just except if you, the wrong is if the top knee drops back. That's the only wrong. But otherwise, open up to where you can. Again, we're going to take a nice deep breath here. You always want to take a couple of deep breaths in that open position first before doing more motion. So we're just allowing that arm to open up, the chest to open up, getting that rotation. If your neck feels uncomfortable, you can always get a pillow and put it underneath your head here. That's sometimes helpful. I just don't have one here to do that with. You could also, put that arm under if that feels more comfortable too. Okay, so then you're going to bring the arm back. You're going to reach up and over. Bring it back, up and over. So you can do about 5 of these where you're just windmilling the arm up and over, getting that thoracic rotation. Up and over. If you feel any pinching in your shoulder or anything like that, you can always shorten the lever by just placing your hand like on your chest and instead moving from the elbow instead of your hand, and sometimes that will help take some of the pressure off your shoulder if that feels uncomfortable for you. You can do that, but either way is fine. And one more, and this time just again take a nice deep breath all the way in, all the way out, and hopefully your arm is a little bit further back than it was when you first started. So ideally every time you do this, you'll get a little more range of motion in that upper body. You'll stretch out the pecs, and then we go to the other side. So you can just roll over, flip to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're in our fetal position. Top knee is directly on top of the bottom knee. Hands are stacked. We're going to reach and then bring it up and over to where you can get it to go. And this is also a good way to test which side is more mobile or less mobile. We usually have at least one side that you might be equally tight on both sides, but usually people have one side that's tighter than the other side. So again, we take our deep breath here. And bring the arm back. Again, making sure that top knee doesn't move. Reach and rotate. And we'll do 5 of those. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one more with relaxing and the breathing again. And hopefully that arm can get a little further down than you did on the first time. And as you do this in the next couple weeks, you'll probably notice that you'll make a lot of progress with that. Okay, so from here, we're going to come up onto all fours, and we're going to do cat-cow. So we want to make sure we're spreading our fingers nice and wide. Our shoulders are right over our wrists, and our knees are right under our hips. And then from here, we're going to start by We're going to be rounding our back, so you're kind of pushing your spine up towards the sky, tucking your tailbone under, and our head tucks under. And then you're going to slowly let your tailbone come up towards the sky. You're going to drop your belly button towards the floor, your chest towards the floor, and then your head is going to look up towards the sky. And then you're going to tuck your chin, pull your upper spine up towards the sky, your chest towards the sky, then your belly button towards the sky, and then tuck your tail towards the floor. So we're nice and rounded. So rounded like a scared cat, and then the tailbone comes up towards the sky, belly button drops down, chest drops down, and the head looks up, so we're kind of like a cow here, dropping your udders down. I don't know, whatever. So we're just rounding and rounding up and dropping down. And we just do those a couple times. The first couple do real slow and almost think about one segment of your spine at a time, rounding from the bottom all the way up to the top, and then reversing that, and the chin goes and the chest and the, one segment all the way down at a time. You might find, especially if you're super tight in that thoracic area, you could even just segment that to just be the thoracic part. So you can almost not think about your lower back and just do it from the upper middle part of your back. From here, we're just going to kind of rotate. So you're going to swing your hip. So let's say, I'll explain it this way. Swing your right hip out and your right shoulder kind of on a diagonal. And then swing your left hip out, and then your left shoulder goes towards the right on a diagonal. So you should get a nice stretch all along the side of your body. So we're just kind of swinging from one side to the other, wagging your tail, as it were. That just kind of opens the side body up a little bit. And you can even add a reach with that. So you can reach the right arm as the right hip pushes back. You can reach the left arm across as the left hip pushes back to get a little more stretching and opening through the side of your body. And relax. You can go, or next one is going to go thread the needle. So, and if your hands are getting tired, you can always post up on your fists. So just kind of like that, and then just push straight down so the wrist is locked right over. So from here, you're going to take your right arm and you're going to reach it underneath. You're threading the arm through the needle. You're going to bring your shoulder all the way down to the floor, and then think about tractioning your shoulder back to the right side. So you're reaching your arm under, but then pulling your shoulder back. You're not really moving it, but you're just getting that sensation. So sliding the arm under, pulling that arm back, hold for a breath, then come back up and switch sides. So palm goes up, so we're threading the needle, the palm is up, we reach all the way under till our shoulder comes down to the floor. We pull that shoulder back towards the other side, almost like it's pulling into the floor, and then come back up. We'll do 2 more on each side for that. Thread the needle, and come up, thread the needle, and come up. And obviously, as you get more comfortable with these, you might find that one of these feels really good, like, oh, I really need that. Then just do a few more of those, spend more time in that position. but I'm just trying to give you some ideas of things to do. So from here, you can come into a seated position. You can go cross-legged or wide-legged. It doesn't really matter, whatever feels comfortable for you. We're gonna do seated rotations. So from here, we're gonna just sit up nice and tall. So try to lengthen out your torso. And from here, I want you to just bring one hand in front, one hand behind without turning yet. So you're looking still straight ahead. And then slowly turn your head, then turn your shoulders, and then you can turn your torso. So I don't want you to just rush your way into it, because then people just try to crank their backs. But I want you to first turn your head, then open your chest, then open your spine. And take a nice deep breath, really trying not to collapse into that. Stay nice and tall, keep the chest up as you rotate. And then come back to the center, switch hands, and then head, chest, torso, and take a nice breath. And again, this is another good one to see how well you rotate one way versus the other. You might realize, like, you might not even be able to get your arms to that position. Maybe you can only get them here, and that's okay. And just see where you're at, and then every time you do it, try to work a little bit more. You might only be able to turn your face to here, or maybe here, or maybe you can get all the way behind. So it doesn't matter where you start. It just see how you progress as you go. So staying tall, get the nice deep breath. Rotate, head, shoulders, torso. How far can you see behind you one way versus the other? And again, you can do that a couple times each way. You can even just like swing your arms, which will help to lubricate the upper spine. Kind of just feels nice to do. Okay, so bring your legs out. Again, for some people, this is a challenging position. So if you need to close your legs a little bit, that's fine. If you find that you can't even sit up, like I know Matt, he gets into this position and he can only have his hands back here. He literally can't sit up to do this. So if that's the case, bring one leg in and that'll help you to be able to sit up more. But if you can do it with both open, do it with both open. So from here, you're gonna take your right hand and kind of scoop it under, and you're gonna take your left arm up, and then we're just gonna open the side of the body. So again, it will be the same thing if you had the leg in, you would just do it this way. So either way is fine, it doesn't really matter. So taking a nice deep breath here, just relax the neck. Try not to like hold a lot of tension in it. Just keep it nice and relaxed. And we're again taking deep breaths. Through all of this, we want to be taking nice, slow, deep breaths. And then come back up. Scoop the left hand under. The right arm comes up to the sky. And then reaching over to the other side. Keeping the neck relaxed. We shouldn't feel any tension in the neck as we do this. And while you're, in this position, if you wanted to, you could add in some, hamstring stretches, a straight through stretch. You can even add a little more dynamic where you go a little bit faster through. That's fine. Okay, so those are your lateral leans, and then we're gonna go back into being on our stomach, and we're gonna do it's a stability exercise for the upper back. So it's We're going to do angels and then Y's, T's, W's, and L's. So we're not going to do a ton of these. Ideally, I'd like you to work up to 1 round of 30 of each of these. But for today, we're only going to do 5 or so of each. Okay? So you're going to lay on your stomach. Your forehead is going to be on the floor. And to start, we're just doing angels. So just, you're going to lift your hands maybe an inch or so off of the floor. And you're just sweeping your arms all the way up. And then try to get your pinkies to touch your hips. And then your thumbs to touch each other in the front. And then sweep behind, sweep in front, sweep behind, sweep in front. Some people have, if you need to, you can even do it with your fingertips on the floor still. And you're just sweeping all the way up, all the way down, trying to just get range of motion through the shoulders the whole way through. After you do, 5, 10, whatever, then we're going to go to Y's. So we're bringing our arms out to like a Y position, so diagonal. So we're not directly out to the side. We're not directly, or in the front. We're not directly out to the side, but we're going to be making a Y with thumbs up. Okay, so from here, same thing. Our forehead stays on the ground. Our thumbs are up. Our arms are in a straight position. No bent elbows. Ideally, as much as possible, try not to bend your elbows. So you're going to relax your shoulders away from your ears. You're going to lift your elbows off the floor, then lift your fists off the floor, and then relax down. So relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the fists, reaching out through your fists, and then lower back down. Okay, so these are your Y's. You're just lifting the elbows, lifting the fists, pause, and relax. So you should feel that all in between your shoulder blades, kind of like maybe a little bit lower, kind of by your bra strap. So it's for your lower traps. So a lot of times our lower traps get really weak. Our upper traps try to do everything. So this is something to balance that out and to stabilize the spine and the thoracic region. So once you do your Y's, we're going to bring our arms directly out to the side and do T's. So these Y's, T's, L's, W's, they're all going to be kind of the same, focusing on the same area and kind of doing the same thing in the same position. So we're here, our head is again, forehead on the floor. We relax our shoulders away from our ears. We lift our elbows up off the floor. We lift our fists off the ground, pushing out through our fists, and then lower back down. So again, we still have our thumbs up. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the fists, and relax. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the fists, and relax. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the fists, and relax. Let's do 2 more. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the fists, and relax. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, or straighten the elbows, lift the fists, and relax. Good. Those are your T's. And we're going to come to L's. So we just bent. So from the T position, you're just sliding your palms up so your elbows make an L shape. Okay, so now, same thing. Forehead on the ground. We're going to relax our shoulders, lift our elbows, lift our palms, and down. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the palms, and down. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the palms, down. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the palms, and down. Let's do 1 more. Relax the shoulders, lift the elbows, lift the palms, and down. Good. So those are your L's. Then from here we go into W's, which is just basically bringing our arms straight up and then pulling them back down. So they're going from that like L position. So let's bring our forehead back down to the ground. We're in that L position. We're gonna lift our elbows and lift our palms. And now we're just gonna straighten the arms out in front of us and then pull the elbows back down into our sides. And then reach forward and pull down. Reach forward, pull down, reach forward, pull down. 2 more, and down, reach, and down. Good. So from there, just because we did so much work right there, we can kind of press ourselves up and push back into that child's pose. Once we're back in child's pose, we can kind of reach on the diagonal one way, reach on the diagonal the other way, just to loosen that up. I know I just from doing those, my back was tightening up because the lower traps just always get so weak. And especially when you do those properly, you really feel that a lot. So a couple reaches each way, and then we're gonna come back into our seated position. And you can sit any which way. You can kneel, you can sit, for these you could even stand. Why don't we stand? We can stand for these. All right. So we're gonna stand up. I just don't know if I'm gonna be in the frame anymore. So we're just gonna be doing shoulder rolls. So you're gonna bring your shoulders in, pull them up towards your ears, open them out, roll them down, in, up, around, and down. Just getting those shoulder rolls in one direction, and then switch. Again, you can always do like 5 to 10 in each direction. So shoulder rolls both ways, and then we're gonna do torso rotations. So just kind of bend your elbows like you're gonna start running or something, or race walking. And then you're just gonna rotate, and you can like loosen the hands too, and just let them swing and rotate from one way to the other, but keep your head forward so the torso has to move. Good. And then we're just gonna reach up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. Just give yourself a nice back bend here. So you can take your fists, put them in the small of your back, squeeze your butt, and just reach forward as your chest comes back. And then get over to a wall or a door jamb or something like that. We're gonna do a chest stretch. So you can take your hand, so you can do this one of 2 ways. You can do your chest stretch to hit. So if your arm comes straight out, you're hitting pec major. If your arm comes up, you're hitting more pec minor. Typically, pec minor is tighter for most people. So I usually just go straight for the diagonal up, but you could do both. So from here, you're gonna be by your door jamb or wall or whatever you have your hand on. You're gonna step through with the same side leg. So if your right arm is up, your right leg steps through, and then you're gonna rotate away from your arm. And then again, just keeping your head in line here, relaxed, and take those nice deep breaths. So a lot of times people are super tight all through here. So just rotating to where you feel a stretch kick in. You don't want to overstretch it, so just kind of get into that position and breathe. You can also take your knuckles and just kind of rub like where you feel that tightness. You can kind of just give a rub in that area, which will help the fascia to just relax a little bit more. But especially if you're going to do that, don't be in your maxed out stretch position, almost back off a touch. So we did our breaths on that side, and then the same thing for the other side. So place your hand either that directly straight out or up on an angle. Left hand, step through with the left foot, and then rotate away from the arm. Taking your deep breaths. Maybe take a little of the stretch off do your knuckle rub. Another breath. And then shake it out. And so that's about it. And then if you want to go back and do any of the ones that felt really good, one last bonus would be to get like a stability ball, or you could even do it on a long foam roll, would be to just lay on it and let your chest open. So placing the ball in the middle of your back, walking your feet forward, letting yourself kind of roll over the ball. If you want to, you can have your head supported on the ball, and then just lay and let your arms open up and take just a couple deep breaths there, just allowing your chest to open, opening up that whole area. When you do that and you come off it, you can use your hands to assist your head up. But then I would advise you to walk yourself up. Don't just stand up right away. Come back up, and you can bounce a little bit and just let the blood come back down out of your head so you don't get dizzy when you stand up. Just take a couple seconds to sit before you do that. If you're on the foam roller, it's not as bad because your head isn't in a negative position. I'll show you the foam roller, what I mean by the foam roller, just in case you do want to do that. So if you had a long foam roll, you would sit your butt all the way at the edge, as close to the edge as you can of your foam roller, and then lay back on your foam roll, so that way your head is on it. And then just let your arms be out to the side here. So that way your head is supported the whole way. You still get a negative opening for your chest. And you can take nice deep breaths here. And that can be nice and relaxing as a nice way to finish. And you can also do those angels that we had done earlier. You can do those here too, to work that a little bit. And so that's it. So hopefully, after all of that, your upper body feels pretty good. And you feel nice and open through that whole upper body. And hopefully as you do this, and again, you don't have to do every single one of those every time you do it. If you notice that something feels really good, or something's like, ooh, that's like really tight, like I obviously really need that, then do that every day. And then maybe just do this whole series once a week, or, you know, at first when you're super tight, you might want to do it daily, just to get everything to get nice and loose and flowy. And then after that, you can space it out, or just pick and choose which ones you like, that feel the best and seem to work the best for you with how tight you are. So I hope that was helpful. I love you and good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.